Hello, YouTubers and all those who happen to watch. I've been active on this website since 2006, and I've had an account on here since 2005, actually. I had a very old account named Agrabon. So, I go back, and I look at then, and then I look at now, and I look how YouTube was originally this website that was devoted to us. It was very independent, sort of a scene kind of thing where you just had this independence where you can just post a blog, do your content, post about, the birds outside, post about somebody else, how their video was cool and all that. It was pretty much a very positive, very low-key thing. Then it developed into something larger, something great scale, something magnificent where it was just this big burst of information, people doing tutorials and all these other things too. It was just a really fantastic atmosphere. So let's fast forward that VHS tape to now. Obviously, VHS is more phased out, and now we're using web cameras to very high-tech digital devices to record our everyday fiasco. And our manifesto, so to speak, of how we dislike the government at the moment, or how we dislike this very, very, very distasteful can of soup. All these wild, crazy things still kind of occur today with YouTube. Now it's more of a mainstream thing when most people are trying to conglomerately build their accounts to trying to be this money-making scheme, rubbing their hands together, saying sub for sub, grind for grind, touch me, touch me, touch me. And among this all, YouTube, of course, got bought out by Google by now, and it's, of course, brought into this circuit that Google Plus is not doing so well. Google's trying to figure out ways to incorporate it into making people having to use it so that way they can help fund YouTube. Now, I'm not here again to say Google Plus is horrible. It's not very great to use, though. It's not something I would pretty much commonly like to use at all, but sadly and unfortunately, I have no choice. They synchronize my channel into my Google Plus by my alias here on YouTube. So, sadly so, I cannot reply to too many comments anymore, which it kind of really ticks and pisses me off at the same time. It's sort of a kick in the shin, if you will. So, I've found and been very humble towards the fact I'm able to respond to witty and funny and touts and these things that people can say to me here on YouTube, and I can be able to respond and have communication. Sadly now, they're making almost everybody use Google Plus, using this chat system that to me, or this comment system that quite frankly to me is just building up traffic towards Google Plus, because they couldn't think of any other way to make people come to this darn website, because they're trying to compete with said Facebook. And the only way they can do that is by generating a traffic margin line that of course makes people look or have to use Google Plus and be synchronized into it, so therefore it counts as time towards that. So over the course of 3 months, we're probably going to see a big-ass riot. At the same time, people just mellowing into the concept, which they will. We will. We all will. But for now, we're just going to complain, and humbly so. So, I'm looking at Google+, and quite frankly, it's not anything that is magnificent versus Facebook. Facebook is, of course, there just to mine your ass anyway. I mean, most of us use it. Most of us just, at this point, don't give a fuck anymore. And then, of course, we have Google Plus, who is trying to data mine us, but there's no mines to pluck out of the ground, so to speak. So what do? They say, fuck it. Our website, youtube.com, it makes and generates billions of views every day. Or every other day, should I say. And so they're looking at this all and saying, okay, let's think of a way to make this fathomable. Let's make this a way so that way people have to use our product, boosts up the views, and we can point at Facebook and make it go, ha. Because let's face it, it's all about competition, right? Think of dirty, dastardly, or in this case, very, very, very sneaky ways to make you use the product. Now, am I opposed to Google Plus's comment system? Absolutely. I don't think it's very practical. Heck, I can't even comment on my own videos to respond to people who are still using the old format for YouTube. So, at the end of the day, I'm just going to be a careless whisper like everyone else is mentioning themselves, including his Alpha Omega Sin. He's mentioned this himself time and time again, that he's just, like me and him, we'll just pretty much be whispers in the wind. It's true. We're all YouTube don't give a shit. They're going to cry their tears and their $100 bills rolled up into a nice big bundle of cotton. So, I can say this much, and I do apologize to anybody ahead of time in the future, because, obviously it's not my fault, but I still have to apologize anyway, because this becomes accountable on my channel. And if I do not respond to you, do not take it personal. Do not take it to heart, because I'm trying my best here to figure out ways and try to communicate with these folks, at least for when people leave me comments on my channel, because I like to respond to comments. I like to communicate. Usually if I don't communicate, it's because I'm playing a game or something, but, this leaves a point where the you and YouTube just becomes GoogleTube or GTube or something like that, because it doesn't feel like it's anything to do with you or me or anybody else anymore, other than the conglomerate that's a multi-billion-dollar company called Google. Now, I respect their success. They started from a small, humble beginnings of being a search engine. Now they grew into this monster that none of us can contain, or nor we will ever contain, because they can do whatever the fuck they want. And we just have to ride around the coattails, or just not simply follow along with it. And some of them, of course, will chime in and say, well, if you're practice what you preach, stop following along. Well, no. I don't think that I'm going to leave YouTube because of this said scenario, because it's, quite frankly, it's not anything hugely major of a deal. Over time, people are going to be able to, or in this case have to, switch over to Google+, whether despite themselves, or just simply leave YouTube. Which I do see a humble amount of people doing so anyway, leaving the ghost town even more vacant than ever. So, therefore, if you feel that the viewership on your channels, or the reaction, the responses, all the communication you have to your friends are all slowly becoming lesser and lesser, it's because it isn't your fault. It isn't necessarily anything you're doing on your channel that's wrong. It's just how they're setting up the format. They do this so many damn times now, it's becoming harder and harder to freaking get your videos out there for your friends to see, or make any new potential friends. This is what happened when they decided to flip over to the new subscription system. Now it's all very hard and very tricky to even get people to notice your videos anymore if you're trying to do that type of stuff. With most of the high-end pay subscribed content and video content, videos, Code Veronica X, Grindcore X, these guys get noticed right off the bat. 100% of the time you're going to see those people versus yourself or anyone else in that matter when it comes to the spiral of communication, or this circle of binding and building a community. So you have one or two things. Grab a big chunk of your friends you know already and sadly drift over to Google+, build a circle, and just leave it like that, so that at least they would be able to see your content consistently. Quite frankly, for me, I'm just very distraught and kind of disappointed and depressed at the same time about this situation, because it's harder for me now, even more than so, to be able to communicate with my friends, which is mostly what I do on this website anyway. Being a partner like everybody else nowadays it's a little small piece of extra bonus, but at the end of the time, it doesn't matter to me. It matters that I can be able to communicate with friends. That's all. So take it easy. Thank you all for watching, and touch my nibbles.